Hello, beautiful beings. So my name is Alison Haitana. I am the archetypal website designer that is technically a little bit different from normal website design. I work in a WordPress environment, but I weave in my kind of shamanic, intentional creativity learnings and abilities and skills into working with feminine archetypes, and I weave that into the creation of the website design. So when I say energy is everything, then that's essentially what I'm trying to infuse or embed into a website design. And so that's why I feel, and I actually think that I know, I'm the only one doing something like this. So besides that, this is my very first vlog. Yay! Now I have been doing something very interesting. So I personally do not engage with the start of the Gregorian calendar New Year. I am from the Southern Hemisphere and I'm actually an Indigenous New Zealander. And so our New Year actually starts when there is a certain alignment or conjunction of the sun, the moon, and the stars, particularly Matariki or Pleiades. For people in other locations, that's what she is known mostly by. And it's basically the heliacal rising of Matariki. In certain geographical locations in New Zealand, it happens roughly around June, July every year. And so for me, myself, I am actually halfway through that kind of cycle. It is super hot here at the moment. It's summer. It's about 38 to 40 degrees where I live at the moment in Australia. So it's quite hot. And it's very interesting because we have obviously the start of the Gregorian calendar. And then we're coming up to the kind of Southeast Asian lunar start of their calendar. And so it's just a really interesting kind of intermediary time. And because of my studies as a shamanic practitioner, I have actually followed a lunar rhythm and cyclical nature for about 8 years now. And so it's one that when I started was a little bit challenging to get into, but once I fell into it in alignment with my own personal kind of moon cycle, it just felt right. And so I've continued with that since. Not to know that there isn't a time and a date and a place that we can all kind of gather together. And so, yeah, it's been very interesting. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a bio and kind of what I do, and then I'm going to kind of lead into the experiment that I'm undertaking at the moment. So I've been in business for about, registered business now for maybe about 3 years. It was in the solstice in September of 2019, just before the world really changed. And during that time, it's been a very interesting. I've pivoted through a lot of different kind of areas and passions and stuff like that to then finally end up almost in some weird way back where I started, but with a different elevated kind of perspective of it. And so that's using archetypal website design instead of just normal website design. So I'm incorporating and integrating all of these skills and abilities that I've accumulated and also integrated over my life experience. Now, as well as that, I love this kind of time of year anyhow. I find that the tides of power, coming into Christmas and those certain celebrations, and also kind of out there the new year, there's a lot of energy that's available. And cosmically, there's also a lot of energy available. And so even though the kind of New Year's resolutions and, New Year, New Me is something that I don't ascribe to, and I haven't for a very, very long time, it actually got me pondering because I was alone for quite a large portion of that time between Christmas and New Year's. And it allowed me some time to settle, to kind of hibernate, to basically sit still, be silent, gain some presence in my life and clarity and direction, and also just remove a lot of distractions and noise. So I started a process or a, I guess, ritual maybe, or it's actually just a daily kind of self-care thing for me called morning papers. Now, many people may know what they are, some people may not. It's actually spawned from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way, and there is a particular process that you can go through, and one of those activities that she actually has in that is basically 3 pages, and which are called morning pages, of morning pages every day, 3 pages of whatever size book you have, if it's A4, B4, A4, A5, whatever, just 3 pages. It's stream of consciousness writing, and then you kind of like shut it back, go on with your day. You can read back on it if you want to or not. Now, the really interesting thing is that I've been doing it since the new moon, so that's since Thursday, so we're on to like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So this is the 4th day. There's been some amazing insights that have come through, and I've noticed that there's this theme that's running through a lot of it. Now, today it kind of became really clear what was going on, not only in my business, but also in my kind of life and the direction that I'm taking with my own personal life, designing my life intentionally, and all of these kind of amazing things that we think of around this time, and actually implementing them. So this experiment that I'm going to be undertaking, because a lot of also the work that I do in the spaces that I do is, what's the best way? Quite avant-garde. It's a little bit visionary. It's probably a lot visionary, actually. And it's very much on the fringes of kind of societal patterning and programming and behavior. And because of that, I've resisted, I guess, a lot of the ways that business is done, because I feel that it comes from a very disingenuous place, comes from a place of fear and lack, and not necessarily one of empowerment. And so I've struggled a lot with my business journey. It is run in parallel and in concert with personal growth and spiritual growth and transformation as well. So it's been very interesting times, very insightful times, but also sometimes really, really quite challenging. A lot of times I've actually felt like giving up on business as it is done normally, because I actually don't like it. I don't like the way that marketing is portrayed. I think that it's very predatory, quite aggressive. These are normal kind of like marketing avenues, pro marketing, I think it's called out there in the world, or whatever it is. Either way, it doesn't make me feel nice. And so a lot of the time I've actually been trying to figure out ways and come up with different ways of being an entrepreneur in the world and doing business in a way that actually meaningful, sustainable, but also is a win-win-win situation kind of thing. And so I've been very interested in this incorporation, this amalgamation, this integration of soul, heart, presence, slowing down, and so forth like that, and actually reorganizing myself, because I've had space to kind of get out of the noise and distraction of what I want to create in my business moving forward. And so part of this movement that has come out from my morning pages is something called the Slow MoFlow Entrepreneur. I actually have a little like archetypal moniker that I use in my branding called the mystical mofo. And so it's kind of a play on words of that. Now, what that means for me is the slow MoFlow of entrepreneur, or slow MoFlow entrepreneur, is that essentially I am slowing down to be in presence, to listen to heart, to listen to soul, to listen to spirit, before I actually do any action in my business. It kind of reminds me a lot of the slow food movement. I've kind of like food miles and being locally and like, only having 100 kilometers and stuff between where the food is grown and it's cultivated to where it kind of reaches me. And so it is similar to that, but it is also very different. And this has essentially arisen out of morning pages and being hyper present in my morning pages so that I can listen and hear the voice of my soul, so to speak, or spirit at times as well. And so this, I'm looking at my notes and stuff too. So it's essentially slowing down to speed up, which is a paradox, which I think many spiritual concepts and personal development and transformational spaces, life is a paradox. We can both be grieving somebody and at the same time be extremely joyful in our life, as it is right now. And so I think a lot of the time it's about recognizing the paradox, but also being able to hold the paradox at the same time. It's been able to hold a multiplicity of things all at the same time. It's been open, it's been flexible, it's been agile. And one of the things that has really come out for me in morning pages at the moment is actually this concept of presence and the language business, because I love that. And so that is essentially what this experiment is going to be. So I am going to document kind of my slow MoFlow business or entrepreneurship, and just kind of see what foibles, what amazing things come from it, what magical things come from it, what lessons that I'm going to learn along the way. And so this is the very first of it, and the very first thing that I'm actually going to do at the moment is I have made the decision to, in essence, have social media, i.e. mostly for me, Facebook and Instagram, and most likely will be LinkedIn as well. That's really the platforms that I'm on, be static. So as of probably in a couple of weeks, when I get everything organized and I figure out what I'm going to do and what content I'm going to post for the last time, that's going to go up my social platform. So I'm going to create what's called a Instagram 9-grid static post or feed as such. It's essentially just going to be 9 posts, and that will answer certain questions about me and my business and what I do and what I stand for. And it's just going to be like a shop front, so to speak. And then if you want any further information, you can contact me, and all the details are there as well. I'm going to do a similar thing with Facebook, but I'm going to use the cover photo, and that will pretty much have all of the details in the post and any contact details and stuff like that as well too. LinkedIn will be the same cover page and stuff as well, with the bio and contact details. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start vlogging. I love video. I never used to, but I really do now. I love the medium. I love the immediacy of it. I love the authenticity of it as well. I have already done, this is my 5th take, and there's some really good, bloopers and stuff. So I'm going to keep those, because I think that's actually really fun and shows a really interesting side of creation. But yeah, this is essentially me going, that's a decision that I've made, and this is where I'm going to go. And the reason is because basically simplicity. With a slow MoFlow model, so to speak, you heard it here first, people. Simplicity is one of the overarching features that I have in my life, and it's been interesting that I've allowed complexity to enter into my business. And that's because of a lot of shoulds, a lot of information, and a lot of noise that I've been listening to and taken on board. Now it's a time to purge all of that and actually start simple. So for me, starting simple is this, which is vlogging. What I'm going to do is, once I do this kind of video, it's going to be posted up on my website. I'm going to then put it through a program called Descript, and that program is going to spit out a audio, a video, a subtitle file, and I can then chop it up into little segments. And then this main video is going to go over to YouTube, and then potentially the other kind of, chopped up content can go somewhere else. But like for this time frame, this is me pulling back, pulling all my energy back and containing it back into me, into myself, into my slow MoFlow business, and just seeing where it goes and where it takes us. But from what I anticipate already about doing the morning pages is that it just allows presence. And in presence, I'm going to find the way. It may not be, actually, it will not be the straight way. It will most likely be like this, but it'll be my way. And that's the way that I'm going to document things as well. So it's kind of going to be an as and when they happen thing. But yeah, I think one of the main features of, I guess, what I'm going to do in this kind of experiment and this model, I guess, that will most likely start to occur over time, is that simplicity. And the way to get simplicity for me is actually presence. And the way to get presence for me is through stream of conscious writing, which has actually come from morning pages. And it's been really interesting because I know that essentially I was listening to a lot of shoulds and not necessarily listening to myself. And so that's why I'm going to come off social media. There'll still be a presence there, but I just won't be engaging. I'm not after followers. I'm not after engagement. It's just going to be like a shop front. And if you want to converse with me or have a conversation with me, then there are other avenues in which you can do that. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting experiment. I'm going to also be like documenting certain creativity processes that I'm going to discover along the way. One of them that I'm doing right now at this point in time is, let me see if I can get it for you. Yeah, here it is. I'm also an intentional creativity teacher. And in that particular certification, there was a process which I absolutely love and adore, and it's called the vision plan process. There's a couple of different names that it's known by, but that was one of them. And so essentially what it is like a little booklet, 8-page booklet. So that was like the title, and then you had like these other elements to it. And it essentially is the architecture or the framework of an offer. So we have like the experience, like what are the clients going to experience? What's the sacred assignment, the prosperity, the timing and design, the action plan that I have for it, the clients, who are they, what is the actual offer? So those are some of the questions that I am actually going through at the moment in regards to designing my life. So I'm going to have 2 of them. So there'll be 2 of these, designing my life and my entrepreneurship. And I probably should have grabbed these things, but hey, from the fly. I'm going to come up with a 8-page vision plan quest, I guess that's what we can call it. And this is actually going to be orientated around my business. So essentially you have like these headings. So for my business, I have vehicles for success, which are my offers, my clients, currency, prosperity, impact and legacy, vision, divinity or identity, virtues, and then mission. And there's one question that I need to come up with that I can ask myself in a creativity process, like, what is my vision for my business for a year? i.e. questions like that. And the information that comes through will be very similar to morning pages kind of thing. And then from there, I will create a booklet like this, and one will be for my life and the other one will be for my business. So that will be another vlog most likely coming your way when I actually get to it. Yeah, but other than that, much aroha to you. Thank you for being here, for being in this little small snippet of the kind of interwebs with me. And I hope that you have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. So much aroha. Ciao.